hello. Happy winter solstice, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Dr. Nusheen Darvish from Holistic Naturopathic Medical Center here in Bellevue. And so we want to discuss the capacity we have to transform our lives during this winter solstice. It's a very powerful time. And I really wanted to dedicate this little live session to my grandfather, who passed away almost 64 years ago today. And his spirit and soul is with me. And I wanted to share that with you today. So we want to talk about the significance of winter solstice and how we can use this time to strengthen our immune system, what we can do to be of a much more greater positive shift for ourselves and for everyone around us. So winter solstice is really known as the longest night and the shortest day, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. And it is recognized as the movement towards light. So it's celebrated in so many different cultures, and it symbolizes the end of this negative, dark energy, the winter coming with the light and the daylight getting longer, and that there is new hope, that there is new goodness, that there is renewal. In the Chinese culture, for instance, winter solstice represents the ending of yin, and yin is the weak, the dark, the cold, and it represents the beginning or the return of yang, which is the warmth, the light, and the strength. And in the Persian culture, I grew up with Yalda, which really means the rebirth of the sun, and it's celebrated with poetry reading and eating nuts and pomegranate and watermelon. And this red fruit, these red fruit symbolize the crimson hues of dawn and the glow of life. So it's a very special time for the Persian community, as it is for many communities in especially the eastern part of the world. In Vancouver, where I grew up, winter solstice is celebrated by the Festival of Lanterns. And we know that for Christians, this night that we just have gone through is linked to the anniversary of the birth of Christ. So this year, especially, I think for most of us around the world, it's very symbolic. And it's symbolic in that it represents a time of great shift. And most of us are celebrating the end of this very, very difficult year and hopefully welcoming hope and renewal and light. And it is a time of really letting go. And it is a time of letting go and being with the positive forces of gratitude and energy. So some ways that we could bring into light is positivity and light is to practice really gratitude. So prayer and meditation and reflecting on what is it that we need to let go, all the dark energies that we've been collecting in the last year. Let's just let it go and reflect on the lessons we've learned and also welcome a new beginning. So visualizing all the goodness in your life, all the light and the health that you're wanting in the coming months, and sending love to everyone around you, everyone throughout the world, your neighbor, your friends, your family, people you don't know, and really making it an unconditional love for the world around you. Nothing, no prejudice, no limitations, just pure love radiating out. And then finally, thinking positively and actively being positive and being joyful. So we need to really actively seek out and create joy. And this is one of the symbols and the energies that we can create right now and this day forward. So let's focus on that. This is a time also that we need to care for our immunity. And let me see, actually, I think I'm having trouble with Instagram not connecting, and I'm not quite sure why. So let me see if we can go back and bring in Instagram again. It's been a little bit challenging nowadays with Instagram. I think they're not necessarily letting us go live. So Okay, Instagram, you're joining me during this winter solstice, and I'm sorry we weren't able to connect at the very beginning of me talking about the winter solstice, and this time being dedicated to my great-grandfather, who was actually my grandfather, who passed away 64 years ago during winter solstice. And this is a time of positive energy building and letting go of the negative and darkness and bringing into light all the goodness. It's celebrated throughout everywhere in the world, and especially in the Persian culture, as I was sharing with Facebook Live earlier today. So it is a powerful time for us to be connected, to bring joy to each other, to send love, unconditional love to everyone around us, to be a positive force of hope and love. So please take this day as the day of shifting, a day of transformation, that from this point forward, we are bringing hope, light, and love. So thank you so much for joining me today. But I do want to spend a little bit of time on immunity and how we can reinforce our immune system during this time. And of course, this is a time of year that the immune system needs to be the strongest it possibly can be. And that positive mindset, that loving mindset for ourselves and for everyone around us is, and I can tell you how powerful it is in shifting our immune system. So besides thinking positive, meditating, praying, bringing that spiritual well-being into your life from this day forward, it is ultimately also important for us to engage in some positive behaviors that will support our immune system. And one of the first things that we've talked about with many of these lives is the nutritious food. Right? Nutritious food. Now, the reason that's so important is because of some of the vitamins and minerals that is important for our immune function. So I'm going to focus in on a few of these minerals and vitamins. Most of them you have heard about. Maybe a couple of them you haven't. But we know, for instance, that vitamin D in sunshine is of utmost importance for the immune function. We also know that vitamin B12 is very important for detoxification and immune support, for stress management. But we also know that zinc is extremely important for immune function. It actually supports white blood cell count and function. It supports the reduction of viral replication. So directly, it reduces the viruses, and it supports stress management and your thyroid and your adrenal glands. So zinc is really, really important. It is probably the most common deficiency in terms of minerals in our system. If you've noticed that you've got little white lines on your finger, that is usually a sign of zinc deficiency. Zinc, by the way, is also very important in not only immune function, but emotional health and mental well-being. It is one of the critical nutrients that supports our mental well-being. So zinc is dependent, though, on what's called ionophores. And this means that there are certain substances that will help transport zinc from outside of the cell into the inside of the cell for it to work effectively as an immune supporter. So things like quercetin. Quercetin is that colorful yellow pigment of onions and fresh fruits and vegetables like yellow peppers and red peppers. But the other ionophores are also found in like green tea extract and resveratrol, which is the extract found in wine, except that I don't really recommend you drinking wine on a regular basis because the alcohol will cause more toxicity to the liver. So I rather have you take resveratrol as a supplement or eat the grapes that are full of resveratrol. Curcumin, very, very well known. Curcumin is the yellow extract that is found in turmeric. You know, that's yellow spice that we hear so much about. These few things are what we call zinc ionophores. So in other words, when you take zinc supplement, you want to also be taking at least one of these supplements in order to pull the zinc inside the cells so that it's more effective. Just taking zinc by itself is not necessarily going to work. Now, selenium is another mineral that is not very often talked about nowadays, but it is one of the more important minerals in supporting the immune function and lowering inflammation. And it's a vital mineral in supporting the lungs, so reducing inflammation in the lungs, such as in asthma and allergies, and also reducing the general oxidative stress. Selenium is an important nutrient for thyroid support. I often find that people who have low thyroid function, they may just need selenium and boom, the thyroid starts working. It's also very important in heavy metal detoxification, which is often one of the toxins that bombards the immune system and weakens it. It is also an important mineral for glutathione production. That glutathione is really an important one. And I'm finding that more and more people who are drinking more wine and alcohol nowadays because of the quarantine, that they're burning through their glutathione production and activity. And as a result, their capacity to detoxify is reduced. So we want to make sure that not only are we avoiding the alcohol consumption, reducing it, but also optimizing our selenium. By the way, I want to just jump back to zinc. Zinc is found in foods such as pumpkin seeds and hemp seeds, basically your seeds, flax seeds, squash seeds, basically your seeds, as well as shellfish like oysters and nuts and beans and legumes. So if you're wanting to increase zinc in your diet, do take those type of foods, increase those foods in your diet. Selenium, on the other hand, is also found in Brazil nuts and shellfish and oysters, as well as tofu. Greek yogurt is full of selenium, as well as shiitake mushroom. So these are some foods that, again, you can introduce in your diet if you haven't been eating Brazil nuts. A few nuts a day, maybe 3 or 4 a day is all you need to get good amounts of selenium in your diet. We're often, like I said, very deficient in selenium, and it behooves all of us to be increasing the intake of selenium to support our immune system during this time. Another one is ImmunoCharge, which is a formula that I have formulated, and it does have the zinc and the selenium and the quercetin in it, along with some other nutrients like B12 and vitamin D and vitamin C, all of these different nutrients and antioxidants that we need for immune support. So, you know, it's great to take vitamins and minerals as a supplement or even intravenously, but it's even more important to optimize it in our lifestyle, in our diet. And don't forget, if you're wanting to increase your immune system, emotional well-being, being positive, being joyful is of utmost importance. Okay, especially during this time in the Great Northwest when everything is dark, but we're turning towards light as of today. Everything is dark and it's a lot easier to get down and be depressed. And really, we want to dig deep in ourselves and find that joy, that point of joy and love that bring us out of that mood, along with, you know, some of the nutrients and the lifestyle factors. So we should remember that optimizing immune system is also benefited by increasing our clean water intake, purified. And I don't mean the refrigerator. I mean clean, purified, reverse osmosis water is what I usually recommend. And eating whole foods, so minimizing processed foods, because again, sugar will pull the immune system down. It's probably one of the biggest things next to alcohol during this time of the year that suppresses our immune function, suppresses those T cells and beta cells, and minimizes our capacity to fight off viruses and other infections. So minimize the sugar, minimize the alcohol, and also minimize your intake of foods that you're either sensitive to or allergic to, because that is a form of stress on your immune system. anything that we can do to reduce your immune system is going to be beneficial. Mold exposure, very common right now in the Great Northwest. And mold exposure is another extra toxin that will suppress the immune system. So if you are indoors and with the doors closed, make sure that you check your home for mold. Make sure that you have some kind of an air filter that cleans out the mycotoxins in the house. And I recommend picking up a product called EC3 from Amazon that you can basically spray your home with, as well as wash or rinse your clothes with, to pull out all the toxins and the mold toxins from those materials. Moderate exercise and movement. Lymphatic system, okay? It's all about the lymphatic system moving the toxins. So the more we can move, not extreme exercise, because when you're extremely exercising, you're also stressing the immune system. And again, that will suppress your immune function. So moderate exercise, mild to moderate, especially if you feel stressed. Mild is better than moderate. And then dry brushing. And dry brushing is using those body brushes where you can kind of do small strokes towards your heart for about 5 minutes on dry skin before you get into the shower, and that gets the lymphatic system moving. A simple thing like walking is a fantastic way of shifting the immune system. And when you walk, move your arms so that we get them some movement going. Massage is another great way of getting the lymph system moving. In fact, there are massage therapists that specialize in lymphatic drainage, and that is really important, especially if you're experiencing swelling or edema. The lymphatic system is stressed. If you've got any lymph nodes swollen, if you're fighting a virus, start massaging those areas. And then cell phone exposure and electromagnetic fields and computers, if we can minimize that, then we're much better off, because that again is another stress to the system, and it reduces the immune function. And so bottom line is to maintain or manage our stress. And remember, stress comes from the head, not from the environment. The environment has all sorts of stress coming at us, but if we think that it's stressful, we're going to be stressed. So it's all about our reaction, our thoughts in response to the external stress that determines how our immune function is and how healthy we are. And one word before I leave you, one word to leave you with, one quote to leave you with is one of my favorite quotes. It says, "Rejoice with the joy of your own heart." What that really means, think about it. Rejoice with the joy of your own heart. It means that we're not going to find joy from the external environment. We're going to find it deep within ourselves. So if you can really dig deep into yourself and find that joy, that place of joy, then your cells are going to activate, your immune system is going to wake up, and we're going to be able to transform many darknesses into light as of this day forward. So dig deep in your heart and ultimately find that joy. So I will be taking a break from Instagram Live next week, and we'll come back in the New Year's. I wish every one of you a wonderful, happy solstice today, and wish you very much a healing and rejuvenating holiday season. Love you so much, and we'll see you in the new year. Thank you so much.